Hello everyone and welcome to another random bits and pieces segment from my brain, and today, still a while, for we are playing some more Franchise Hockey Manager 6 as part of the Ottawa Senators. Alrighty, so March is upon us, and it's usually a pretty busy month. I see two games against the Montreal Canadiens here that are going to be pretty crucial. As far as the standings go, we are in second place in the East. We're 8 points behind the Flyers, who are first. So Philadelphia having a really good season, and we're having a good season, but a little bit on the slower side of things compared to years past. So maybe it is the end of an era in Ottawa. I don't know. Then we have Pavel Datsyuk and Jason Spezza. They are still hurt for a while. Looks like Spezza might come back for the playoffs-ish, maybe in time for the start of the playoffs, or shortly after that. For Datsyuk, it's a little bit more complicated, so we're not sure when he's going to be coming back. So we start March on the road here with a 4-game road trip. We're going into central US, I guess. That's gonna start in Colorado against the Avalanche, so we're gonna go ahead and get going here. Now also, I mentioned the games against Montreal are going to be important. Montreal is 8 points behind us. We have played the same amount of games, so if I start losing, I've been having a couple issues on the road so far this season, so if that continues during that road trip there, then those 2 games against Montreal are gonna be even more important. So we're gonna go ahead and start simming here, and then we're gonna end up in Colorado here soon. Ooh, lots of players on waivers. So Daniel Carcillo, Tomasz yeah, I have a problem with that name, as we saw in a previous episode. David Jones, Mikko Koivu, and Jordan Leopold. Memorable night for Taylor Hall. He had 3 goals and an assist against Carolina. The poor Hurricanes are still being beat up by everybody. In that same game, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had 4 assists. That's pretty good. Patrick Hornquist had a memorable game for Nashville. He had 4 goals against the Blues. And Eugene Melnyk is still only satisfied with my work, so yeah. Ooh, now that could hurt the... Well, the Stars don't look like they're going to be in the playoffs, but they did lose Jamie Benn for 4 weeks with a fractured finger. So a month without Jamie Benn. So he's just coming into his own. He's 23. So if I remember correctly, Jamie Benn took a few seasons to really become a dominant player. Like, he wasn't bad, but it took him a little bit... Alright, and then some scouting people. Alright, so we are now in Colorado. Colorado is having a decent season. They are 31-27-3. We have not played Colorado this year, so let's take a look at what they have here. Now, Cal Comiskey and Brad Malone are not going to be playing. They are both hurt for a little while. And now, as far as who's on the lineup, we have Joey McDonald and is it Calvin or Chet? And Calvin Pickard in it. Sheldon Brookbank, Tyson Berry, Kevin Shattenkirk, Johnny Boychuk, Zbanek, McCulloch, Stefan Elliott, Landeskog, Verbato, Stewart, Darsh, Duchesne, Ishon, Winchester, Linka, Malhotra, McCormick, O'Reilly, and Sick, Tage, Richardson, and Yip. So yeah, the goaltending is not there yet. Now they have Calvin Pickard that has interesting potential, but both goaltenders are alpha star right now. So that's probably slowing them down a little bit. The rest of the team is average with a few good players like Duchesne and O'Reilly. But yeah, in net right now, it's a little difficult for the Avalanche. All right. So Brian Elliott is going to be in net for the Sens. Calvin Pickard is going to be in net for Colorado. And of course, go Sens go. And we won 5-1. All right, good start to the month of March here. We outshot Colorado 40-19 in this game. Joe Thornton was the first star. He had 2 goals and an assist. Drew Doughty was the second star with 2 assists, and Chris Kelly was the third star with an assist. So Brooks Lake scored first in the first period from Eric Condra and Patrice Bergeron. It was 1-0 Sens after 1. We also had a fight here. Chris Stewart and Zdeno Chara got into a fight. Then in the second period, Patrick Eves scored his 15th of the season from Drew Doughty and Joe Thornton. And then Eric Carlson scored short-handed from Patrick Werkach and Chris Kelly. And it was 3-0 Sens after 2. Then in the third period, Colorado finally scored a goal, reduced the lead to 3-1, but then Joe Thornton scored twice, both times on the power play, so the first one assisted by Drew Doughty, and after that from Braden Shen and Alexander Radulov, 5-1 was the final score. Pretty good road game here to start the month, I like it. Tyler Glass, Paul Carey has been put on waivers. He's only a 1-star player anymore. He's 38, and he's been playing in the minors as well. Wow. Chris Butler, and that's probably Sean Thornton. Yep, all on waivers. And our next game is today against the Wild in Minnesota. Now, it's a little bit tougher for the Wild there, as we saw Joel Quenneville. Yeah, it's a little tough for him over there. The Wild is 25-33-4, so they are probably not going to be in the playoffs. Now, let's take a look here. So Patrick Elias is hurt for a while, so not going to be playing against his former team. And then Benoit Pouliot is also hurt, not going to play this game. So in net, it's Nicholas Backstrom and Matt Hackett. So not too great. On D, we have Nick Leddy, Chris Letang, Nick Schultz, Keith Yandel, Jonas Brodin, what is his name? Raphael Jordan, Dustin Bufflin, and Brent Burns and Ron Ainsey. So on D, they're pretty good. Up front, Kyle Kellerbuck, Ryan Jones, Benoit Pouliot, Francis Wattier, Daniel Corso, Matt Cullen, Steven Stamkos, Michael Granlund, Marian Gaborik, Justin Fontaine, Matt Fraser, and Pierre-Marc Bouchard. So up front, it's a little bit more difficult. Of course, you know, they have Steven Stamkos, and Marian Gaborik is starting to slow down a little bit. But there's not a whole lot of offensive prowesses. I mean, Clutterbuck is a 2.5-star player, but he's really like a grinder. So, yeah, I guess Joel Quenneville is not able to pull it all together for that season with that personnel. So Anthony Niemi is going to be in net for us. Matt Hackett is in net for Minnesota. And we won 3-2 in overtime. All right. Actually, it's in the shootout. So we outshot Minnesota 49-24 in that game. Matt Hackett was a first star despite losing. He had 47 saves. Marian Gaborik was the second star with 2 assists, and Eric Carlson was the third star with a goal. Right, so Minnesota scored first in the first period, and it was 1-0 Minnesota after 1. Then in the second period, we had Jacob Silverberg score from Zach Smith and Brooks Lake to tie the game at 1. Then Minnesota scored again, made it 2-1 Minnesota after 2. And in the third period, Eric Carlson tied the game late in the period from Brooks Lake and Patrice Bergeron. It was tied at 2. Going into overtime, nobody scored. And then only one person scored in the shootout. It was Joe Thornton. So we won this 3-2. Alright, so Minnesota had enough, so Jeff Gorton is not the GM anymore in Minnesota. He's been replaced by Brian Lawton. So Brian Lawton is now going to be the general manager of the Wild. Not sure how that's going to go. Then there's a bunch of waivers again. Oh no, that's the same we just looked at, sorry. Okay, no missed time for Edmonton's Sean Orkoff. He didn't get suspended, still in the lineup over there. Alright, and then we are going to make a stop in Nashville, in the capital of country. A night to remember for Jeff Carter. He had a hat trick against Tampa Bay. Alright, and Nashville has a pretty good record of 40-21-2, so pretty good team there. First time playing Nashville yet again, so we're going to go ahead and take a look here at their lineup, of course. No injuries in Nashville, so that's pretty much the best team that they have. So Picarini in net, and Scott Darling as the backup, so that should be pretty good. Dan Amius, Cody Franson, Kevin Klein, Ryan Ellis, Ryan Suter, Shea Weber, and Marek Zidlicki on D. That's a very strong D. Steve Downey, Scott Hartnell, Jared Smithson, Vernon Fiddler. Oh, what was his name? Daniel Bang, Tyler Seguin, Justin Jeffrey, Nick Spaulding, Kegorodov, Erat, Gordon, Ornquist, Bork, and Carcillo. Alright, so the forwards is kind of hit or miss. Like, it's either a 2.5 star player or an alpha star player, it looks like. So a lot of discrepancies between forwards like that, which means that that they would be considered to be top heavy as far as their forwards go, kind of like the Sens team that made it to the Stanley Cup Finals against the Ducks in 2007. We were pretty top heavy. Like, you had like that pretty strong first line of Spezza, Eatley, and Alfredson, and then, you know, after that you were, you know, you had Mike Fisher and, yeah, you know, Oleg Seprikin, I guess. So it was a little tougher past that. So I guess it's kind of a similar situation for them here, at least as far as their forwards go. Alright, so we are going to be playing in Nashville, and we are going to send Brian Elliott in net, and they are going to send Picarini. That should be a pretty good game. I don't expect a lot of goals. Watch the score be like, you know, 9-7 or something. No, we won 3-1, so low scoring affair. We won. Yeah, pretty good game. We outshot Nashville 37-23. Zdeno Chara was the first star. He had 2 assists. Tyler Seguin was the second star with a goal, and Braden Shen was the third star with a goal and an assist. So Nashville scored first in that game, and then late in the first period, Eric Condra scored from Braden Shen and Zdeno Chara. It was tied at 1 after 1. Nobody scored in the second, and then Jacob Silverberg scored in the third from Zdeno Chara and Roman Josi, and then Braden Shen from Brooks Like and Sam Gagner. 3-1 Sens, the final score. Great game for the Sens against a pretty powerful Nashville team. But we were able to get around their defense and score a couple goals. No suspension for Pittsburgh. Scott Harrington not suspended there. Scott Gomez played in his 1000th game for New Jersey. Didn't get a point, and that happened against Tampa Bay. Scott Gomez is 33, and he is a star-and-a-half player. Speaking of games milestone, Michael Anzus played in his 1,250th game in his career. Also didn't get a point to celebrate. That happened against Colorado. 35 years old Michael Anzus, a star-and-a-half player. Joe Pavelski set everything up tonight with 4 assists against the Leafs. Pretty good game. Alright, and in a couple days we will conclude this road trip with a stop at Madison Square Garden to play the Rangers. memorable game for Sidney Crosby, who had 3 goals and 2 assists against the poor Carolina Hurricanes. And when are they going to get relief from, good draft picks that they made? We're in 2013. Who would they draft around those times? Oh, they started to draft defensemen quite a bit. So we might be seeing like the Jacob Slavin and Bean and who's the guy they traded to Calgary again? That guy. I know who it is. I even have his face in my mind. I just his name just eludes me right now. But with Elias Lindholm as well, so they should be getting a few decent players here. And looks like Roman Josi is going to be hurt here. We are playing the Rangers. They are not very good. They are 22, 37, and 4. That's good for 13th in the East. We are 3-0 against them this season. Oh, Noah Hannafin, dear God. That Noah Hannafin should show up soon for the Hurricanes as well. So at least they're going to start building a defense a little bit. And they already got a goaltender. They got Semyon Varlamov. So, yeah. Anyway, the Hurricanes are not our concern right now. The Rangers are. So we're going to go with Brian Elliott in net. They are going to go with Al Montoya. And we conclude this road trip with a 3-0 win against the Rangers. We outshot the Blue Shirts 30-10. Drew Doughty was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Chris Kelly was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Patrice Bergeron was the third star with an assist. And Drew Doughty scored in the first period from Patrice Bergeron and Chris Kelly, and it was 1-0 Sens after 1. Then in the second period, Chris Kelly scored from Lucas Bisa and Eric Carlson, made it 2-0 Sens. And then in the third period, Drew Doughty scored again from Brooks Laich and Joe Thornton, made it 3-0 Sens. That was a shutout. Pretty uneventful game aside from those 3 goals. All right. And Lucas Bisa converts to right defense. Because we have Roman Josi that develops some back spasms, so he cannot play. Alright, so we're going to go back home. We have a few days off here, and then we're going to be hosting the Islanders. Corey Perry has already scored 300 goals in his career with a goal against St. Louis. 27 years old Corey Perry, 3.5-star player. A strong night for Joe Colborne, who had 4 assists for the Bruins against Philadelphia. Pretty good game. Strong game for Joe Pavelski again. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Stars. And Marian Gaborik has reached 600 points in his career with an assist against Nashville. 31 years old, Marian Gaborik, 2.5-star player, as we just saw not too long ago. Steven Stamkos extends his goal streak to 5 with a goal and an assist against Vancouver. No one could stop Jaromir Jagr, who had a hat-trick against Buffalo. Alex Goligoski has a strong game. He had 4 assists against Buffalo in that same game. Ryan Getzlaf extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal against the Flames. Alright, and now the Islanders are in town. The Islanders are doing alright. They are 34-23-7. That's good for 8 in the East, and they have a little bit of a lead there. So I think they might be safe to make the playoffs. There's still quite a few games to play, but They have a 9-point lead over the Winnipeg Jets, and the Jets have played one more game, so that's a decent lead to have at this junction of the season. We are 2-1 against the Islanders this season, so let's hope that we make it 3-1. So Roberto Luongo is going to be in net for the Islanders, and we are going with Brian Elliott. Ooh, yeah, we won 7-2. We outshot the Islanders 28-14. Joe Thornton was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Eric Condra was the second star with 2 assists, and David Legwan was the third star with 2 assists as well. 16,329 people in attendance for this game. Braden Shen very quietly scored his 30th of the season from Drew Doughty and Joe Thornton. So Braden Shen, 30 goal scorer. So pretty good acquisition that I made there. Brooks Lake also scored in the first from Eric Carlson and Eric Condra. It was 2-0 Sens after 1. Then in the second period, Joe Thornton scored on the power play from Drew Doughty, made it 3-0 Sens, but then the Islanders scored twice before the end of the period, so the Sens were only up a goal after 2. But then in the third period, we opened up the machine. Zach Smith scored from David Legwan, then Lucas Bisa on the power play from Alexander Radulov and Joe Thornton. Zdeno Chara scored from David Legwan, and then Petrus Bergeron from Alex Pietrangelo and Eric Condra. It was 7-2, and that was the final score, of course. Alright, pretty good game again back home. The fans are happy. Alright, and we are going to be playing in Montreal here soon. Is it still a pretty important game? Oh yeah, Montreal is only 7 points back. That's not that much. Alright, strong game for Nicholas Backstrom, who had 4 assists against the Jets. Suspension over for David Backes in St. Louis, back in the lineup over there. Steven Stamkos extends his goal streak to 6 games with 2 goals against the Coyotes. Andy McDonald has played in his 1000th game with Anaheim. Didn't get a point. That happened against Dallas. 35 years old, Andy McDonald, 3-star player, and we barely ever hear about him. Alright, so we are in Montreal to play the Habs tonight. Montreal is 44-19-4, and that's good for 5th in the East. We are 2-1-1 against Montreal this season, and yeah, kind of an important game. I'd hate to lose this game. So Atsi Niemi is going to be in net for us. Carey Price is going to be in net for Montreal. And we lost 2-1. I was hoping that wasn't going to happen. Montreal outshot us 29-24. Jack Johnson was the first star of the game. He had an assist. Eric Carlson was the second star without any point. And Adam Henrique was the third star with a goal. So Montreal took a 2-0 lead into the first period. And that lasted all the way up until late in the third period, where Chris Kelly scored his 15th from Joe Thornton. But we didn't have another goal in us after that, so we lost 2-1. Oh, Brett Belmore is available on waivers. Alright, so now we have... the New Jersey Devils are going to be in town against us. Now the Devils are terrible. They are 16-42-9. That's good for 14th in the East. We are 2-0-1 against the Devils, and we cannot drop this game. So Ray Emery is going to be in net for New Jersey. We are going with Brian Elliott. And we won 3-0. Alright, back on the winning side of things. That's what I wanted to see. We outshot New Jersey 38-23. Martin Ansel was the first star of the game. He had an assist. Alex Pietrangelo was the second star with an assist as well. And David Leguan was the third star, also with an assist. 17,568 people in attendance for this game. Right, nobody scored in the first period. Then in the second, Erik Karlsson scored his 20th from Martin Ansel and Chris Kelly. And then Drew Doughty scored his 10th from Alex Pietrangelo and David Leguan. And it was 2-0 Sens after 2. Then in the third period, Jacob Silverberg scored on the power play from Patrice Bergeron and Braden Chen, made it 3-0 Sens, and that's how this game ended, with a nice 3-0 victory. Rafi Torres suspension ended. He's back in the lineup with the Panthers. Steven Stamkos extends his goal streak to 7 games. He had a goal and 2 assists against the Ducks. Yeah, he's going on a tear here over there. No further discipline for Nashville's Kevin Klein, not suspended over there. Ooh. Now that could hurt LA because it looks like they're going to be in the playoffs, but Anze Kopitar just got hurt. Oh, it's only for 2 weeks. He should be fine. Oh, a ruptured testicle. He's out for... Oh, that sounds very painful. Alright, and we are about to play in Winnipeg to play against the Jets. Oh, Eric Condrey is also hurt now. Fun stuff. Alright, so Winnipeg is now 30-31-6, and that's good for 9th in the East. They are 10 points behind the Islanders, so I'm not sure they're going to be able to get in the playoffs. We are 1-0 against Winnipeg this season. Brian Elliott is going to be in net for us. Kari Lehtonen is going to be in net for them. And we won 2-1, so pretty tight one. And Winnipeg actually outshot us 24-22 in that game. Erik Karlsson was the first star. He had an assist. Is it Jeremy Morin? Yeah, was the second star with a goal. And Patrice Bergeron was the third star with a goal as well. So Patrice Bergeron opened up the scoring in the first from Chris Kelly. Then the Jets tied the game in the second period. It was tied at 1 after 2. And in the third period, the game winner goes to Alex Pietrangelo from Braden Chen and Erik Karlsson with 10 seconds to go in the third period too. So Winnipeg almost got a point out of this game. But they didn't, and it's going to hurt them for the playoffs. Oh, Bergeron is hurt. Okay, he's day-to-day with thumb contusion. I'm starting to have a lot of injured players. Oh, dear God, what's going on there? Oof. Alright, I'm gonna need to put somebody on injured reserve. I guess it's gonna be Patrick Werkach. I just have too many players who cannot play right now. Alright, let's see who gets the call-up. Not a lot of choices. Adam Pelech, oh God, his potential dropped. Yeah, I'm going to recall Chris Weidman again, give him some NHL time. Alright. John Madden played in 1,250 games in his career. No point to celebrate that. And that happened against Montreal. 39 years old, John Madden, 2.5-star player. So, yeah, that would be great if Roman Josi could be back. Yeah, he can play hurt at least. Right, next game is going to be at home against Montreal in a couple days. Alright, Roman Josi on the verge of being back. I am happy to see that. No one could stop Patrick Kane, who had 3 goals and an assist against the Columbus Blue Jackets. No additional missed time for Joffrey Lupul, not suspended in Anaheim. Yaroslav Spacek played in 1,000 games in his career. No points for him. That happened against the Wild. 39 years old, Yaroslav Spacek. He is a 1-star player. Oh, Roman Josi is completely recovered, so that's good. Wait, do I need to recall a forward too? I shouldn't. No, I don't. Okay, Bergeron's going to be swept by Smith. So Montreal's going to have it pretty good, and my team is on the mend quite a bit. Alright, so Montreal is now 46-20-4. They are still 5th in the East, and we are 2-2-1 against them. Not sure how we're going to pull it off, but I need a win right now. So Carey Price is going to be in net for Montreal. We are going with Antti Niemi. Oh god, we lost 1-0. Yeah, Montreal scored in the first period and they never looked back. They outshot us 35-24. Andrei Markov was the first star of the game. He had an assist. Drew Doughty was the second star without any point. And Adam Henrique was the third star with the lone goal of this game. Lots of penalties, too. That's how you know that it was a rivalry game. Yikes. Oh, at least we hurt one of their players. François Beauchemin is out for 5 months. Take that. Oh, and Price got hurt too. Although it's only going to be for 4 days. Alright. Looks like we decided to not go down without a bang. Alright, so we're going to hit the road for 1 game in Columbus. And then we're going to finish the month at home. With, what, 4 or 5 games? 1, 2, 3, 4 games. Alright, Thomas Moisius. Sorry, man. I just can't say your name. Put on waivers again. And Troy Bodie is also on waivers. Alright, Brett Skinner is also put on waivers. Alright. Then I'm starting to have players feeling a little bit better. Alright, so, Alexander Frolov has been put on waivers, but he's only an alpha star player anymore. Then Tanner Glass as well. Nick Foligno got suspended in LA. He is going to miss 5 games. Alright, Eric Condra and Patrick Werkach are almost recovered. Yeah, Patrick Werkach is going to need to stay on injured reserve for a little bit longer. I needed to put somebody. Alright, we are in Columbus to play against the Blue Jackets. Columbus is 32-29-9, which is a decent record. We have not played against Columbus so far this season. So let's take a look at their lineup. No injuries in Columbus. So in net, it's Steve Mason and Frederick Anderson. So that should be pretty good. Justin Falk, Scuderi, Mark Method, Oleg Teredovsky. John Moore, David Savard, Yoni Pitkanen, and Steve Montador. So the D is no superstar, but all around okay. Jonathan Marchessault, Rick Nash, Joachim Lidstrom, Nikolai Zardev, Derek Brassard, Valtteri Filppula, Ryan Johansson, Chris Drury, Paul Stastny, Sutter, Voracek, Atkinson, and Mozyakin. So all in all, it's a decent team. I mean, there's no like true superstars or anything like that, at least not yet, but quite a few players with untapped potential, so that team doesn't look bad at all to me. We're going to go with Ansi Niemi for that game. Frederick Anderson is going to be in net for Columbus. And we won 4-3. We outshot Columbus 36-28. Alexander Radulov was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and an assist. Jacob Voracek was the second star with a goal and 2 assists. And Erik Karlsson was the third star with 2 assists. Alexander Radulov scored first in the first period. That was his 15th of the season on the power play from Erik Karlsson and Joe Thornton. And then Braden Shen from Erik Karlsson. And it was 2-0 Sens after 1. In the second period, Alexander Radulov scored on the power play again from Braden Shen and Joe Thornton. Then Columbus scored, made it 3-1 Ottawa, but then Jacob Silverberg scored his 5th on the power play from Chris Kelly and Alexander Radulov, and it was 4-1 Sens after 2. There was a fight between John Moore and Joe Thornton in the second period as well. Probably 2 unlikely candidates to fighting, but okay. Then in the third period, Columbus did score twice fairly early, so there was some hope that they would be able to tie the game up, but in the 15 minutes or so left that they had after that third goal, they just couldn't score, so 4-3 is the final score in our favor. Alright, so Cam Paddock available, not picking him up. No further punishment for Chuck Kobasu with the Flames, not suspended. Marian Osa got his 500th assist in his career with an assist against Anaheim. 34 years old, Marian Osa, 2.5-star player, so the player that was meant to never get traded, but that I came back on my word and traded him anyway. Alright, and now Patrick Werkach is ready, but he has to stay on the injured reserve for 7 more days. Yikes. Sorry, buddy. Right, so Tampa Bay is in town. So they are 28, 32, and 10. That's good for 11th in the East. I don't think they're going to be in the playoffs this season. And we have 4 games left here in March. We are 2-0 against Tampa Bay this season. Dustin Tokarski is in net for the Lightning. We are going with Brian Elliott. And we lost 4-2. So we outshot Tampa Bay 48-29. Brad Richards was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Chris Kelly was the second star with an assist. And Dustin Tokarski was the third star with 46 saves. Tampa Bay scored first in the first period. It was 1-0 Tampa Bay after 1. Then in the second period, Tampa Bay scored again. Made it 2-0 Tampa Bay after 2. Then in the third period, Braden Shen scored on the power play from Joe Thornton and Lucas Bisa. Made it 2-1 Tampa Bay, but then Tampa Bay scored, made it 3-1. We scored again to give us some hope. It was Martin Ansel's 10th from David Legwan and Chris Kelly. It was 3-2, but then in an empty net, Tampa Bay scored late in the game, made it 4-2, and of course that's how the game ended. Phil Kessel extends its goal streak to 5 games with a goal and an assist against Toronto. Oh, Martin Ansel now joins the club of players who are hurt. Do I need to move somebody? Nah, Conrad Ansel can play. That's fine, I guess. Let's see, with that loss, we have 105 points. Montreal has 102. Well, they're only 3 points behind now, but they did play one more game. So that means that, I didn't lose all that much this month. But apparently I lost enough for Montreal to make up all of that ground. So they haven't really lost this month, is what that means. So I need to continue winning and just worry about me. Ryan Getzlaf extends his point streak to 12 games. He had a goal against Vancouver. Alright, Eric Condra is back and healthy. So now Florida is in town. And they are 39, 27, and 5. Which is good for 7th in the East. We are 2-0 against the Panthers this season. Another win here would do wonders. So Jacob Markstrom is going to be in net for Florida. Antti Niemi is going to be in net for Ottawa. We won 5-0. Cool, we needed that. We outshot Florida 30-17. Joe Thornton was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Patrick Eaves was the second star with 2 assists. And Roman Josi was the third star with a goal and an assist. 17,003 people in attendance for this game. Joe Thornton opened up the scoring in the first. That was his 15th from Roman Josi. Then Eric Condra from Braden Shen and David Leguin. It was 2-0 Sens after 1. Then in the second period, Joe Thornton scored from Patrick Eaves, then Roman Josi from Chris Kelly and Sam Gagner, and finally Brooks Laich scored his 15th from Patrick Eaves, 5-0 Sens after 2, and that's how the game ended. Nobody scored in the third period. Florida took a couple penalties in the third. Those were the only penalties in the entire game, so not much to report on that front, that's for sure. Ryan Getzlaf's point streak ended at 12 games. He was held pointless or scoreless against the Sharks. Patrice Bergeron should be back soon. Thank you, I need you. So we have a couple days off before Winnipeg is in town. Right, Lars Eller in St. Louis is suspended. He's going to miss 7 games. And Sean Orcuff avoids suspension for the second time this month alone. I don't know what he's doing, but just the fact that he's been looked at twice in the same month probably warranted a suspension in the first place. I'm going to raise my fist in anger. Alright. Bergeron back soon. Ansel back soon. Oh, what does it say for our friend Patrick Werkouch? 3 more days. Alright, so Winnipeg is in town with... Oh, they've slid a little bit since last time we played them. They are now 32, 35, and 6. And they have slid to 10th in the East. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be in the playoffs at all. So we are 2-0 against Winnipeg this season. Let's see if we can beat them again. They're going to send Kari Lehtonen in net. We're going to go to Antti Niemi. And we won 5-3. Winnipeg outshot us 32-28. Eric Carlson was the first star. He had 2 goals. Derek Stepan was the second star with a goal. And Joe Thornton was the third star with 3 assists. 18,973 people in attendance for this game. Winnipeg scored first. Then we scored twice. Zdeno Chara scored from Joe Thornton and Eric Condra. And then Eric Carlson from Chris Kelly and Joe Thornton. 2-1 Sens at that point. But then before the end of the period, the Jets tied the game. It was tied at 2 after 1. Then nobody scored in the second period, and in the third period, Eric Carlson scored from Chris Kelly and Joe Thornton, made it 3-2. Then the Jets tied the game again, and then Alexander Radulov scored what would be the game winner from Braden Shen, and finally Alex Pietrangelo finished it off with an empty netter from Patrick Eaves and Patrice Bergeron. 5-3 the final score in Ottawa. Alright, Patrice Bergeron is finally completely recovered. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we have one more game here to play in March. It's going to be against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Chad Kolaric is available on waivers. Patrick Kane extends his point streak to 12 games. He had 2 goals and an assist against Tampa Bay. Good night for Joe Vitale. In that same game against Tampa Bay, he had 4 assists. Alright. Has it been 3 days? It has. You can come back. Welcome back in the lineup. We are going to send down... We're going to send back down Chris Weidman. Lucas Bisa got a few points at least. Alright, so... Toronto is 31, 38, and 4. That's good for 12th in the East. The Leafs are not going to be in the playoffs this season. However, we have struggled against the Leafs. We went 2 and 3 against them so far this season. And Montreal is still just a few points behind, so we cannot afford to struggle against them again. So Jonas Gustafsson is going to be in net for Toronto. We are going with Brian Elliott. And we won 5-1. Alright. At least it looks like we're going to be playing pretty well going into the playoffs, so that's a good thing for sure. Oh, we outshot Toronto 47-9. Brooks Lake was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Alex Pietrangelo was the second star with a goal, and Patrick Keyes was the third star with an assist. 16,520 people in attendance for this game. Joe Thornton scored in the first period from Brooks Lake and Chris Kelly. 1-0 Sens after 1. Then we scored 3 goals in the second period. Zach Smith from Sam Gagné and Alexander Radulov. Then Patrice Bergeron from Roman Yossi and Patrick Keyes. And finally Brooks Lake from Eric Carlson and Eric Condra. 4-0 Sens after 2. And then in the third period, Alex Pietrangelo scored his 10th from Martin Ansel and Braden Chen, made it 5-0. And at the 8-minute mark, Toronto scored to prevent Brian Elliott from getting a shutout. And 5-1 was the final score. So we end the month on a good note. And hopefully we're going to be able to continue that. We have, 7 games left to the season in April before we go into the playoffs. Nick Foligno back from suspension in LA. He is back in the lineup. Michael Anzus has recorded 500 assists in his career. That happened against the Minnesota Wild. 36 years old, Michael Anzus, a star-and-a-half player still. Alright. And Patrick Kane tops the month. So Patrick Kane and Marc-Andre Fleury are the players of the month in the league. So congratulations to them. Alright. So we are at 111 points. Montreal has 107. So we are only 4 points ahead of them. However, they did play 1 more game than us. So it looks like we might be able to hold on to that second place spot here. Now Pittsburgh has jumped over Philadelphia, so they're top of the conference now. And in the West, we have Chicago, which is, completely the Ottawa Senators from 5-6 seasons ago, basically. They have lost only 7 regulation games. So Chicago is in their own class there. Then Anaheim, Calgary, Nashville, LA, San Jose, St. Louis, and Colorado. Colorado fighting for a playoff spot. So, yeah, the top 8 are pretty much decided in the East. There might be some flip-flopping between teams, but it looks like it's going to be those 8 teams that are there right now, because there's a gap of 9 points between 8th and 9th. But in the West, it's a lot more tight. There's at least 4 teams that are battling for the 8th spot, so... Alright, now let's take a look at our stats. Alright, so for points, we have Eric Carson with 69 and 70, and then Braden Chen with 69 and 75. Then Petrus Bergeron 62 and 71, Thornton 52 and 70, and then it just goes down from there. But yeah, Braden Chen has really started to establish himself, especially on the power play. Wow, 30 power play points. That's pretty good. And he's not done developing. He's only 21 years old, and he's already at 69 points. So yeah, we've had injuries, and he jumped in and provided the offense we needed. Pretty happy with that. And now in the entire league, the best goal scorer is Sidney Crosby with 62 goals. Wow. And then he's also the best passer with Jagger. They both have 77 assists. So Crosby is all alone at the top with 139 points. Yeah, that's one heck of a season. Alrighty, so yeah, and we don't have anybody in there. Our best players have been hurt most of this season. So Braden Chen is a good story and everything, but he's not in the conversation for best points or most points or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and save the game. Now, as usual, I do want to thank you for tuning in. And of course, the next time out, we are going to be finishing that and doing the playoffs. And if you've liked the video today, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And until I roll this game again, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.